Hello there, it's the start of another week. Welcome to The Pulse. We are coming to you live from our studios in Kuku Mlimli on your digital terrestrial TV because we are free to air on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 144. Thanks for choosing us. We are JoyNews, independent, fearless and credible journalism. This afternoon, the Bank of Ghana takes a number of remedial measures to avert the imminent collapse of the Ghanaian economy.
Developments in the banking sector over the first 2 months of 2022 show continued strong asset growth. Total assets stood at 187.8 billion Ghana cedis.
Stay with us because we have details, even as the Progressive People's Party has waded into this, demanding the immediate reinstatement of licenses of Ghanaian-owned banks. Meanwhile, former President John Dramani Mahama has descended heavily on the Akufo-Addo administration over what he believes is its failure to improve the economic conditions of citizens.
Indeed, the problems of our country are legion, and the failure of this government has been spectacular on all fronts. And Ghana will soon wake up from the nightmare that we're going through to a new dawn.
And there's more coming up shortly, as well as Ghana drops 16 places in the World Happiness Report, placing us 111 on that index. We will find out shortly what is actually sniffing the joy out of Ghanaians. Stay for details of all of these stories, plus more here on The Pulse with me, Blessed Sugan. The Pulse, as always, is brought to you by Global Communities Digni Lu, affordable safe sanitation. Remember that this afternoon we are streaming live on our YouTube channel and all of our social media handles. It's at JoyNews on TV. Tweet at us with the hashtag The Pulse. My personal handle is at Blessed Sugan. Do stay for details. Well, this afternoon, the Progressive People's Party is actually wading into the debate on Ghana's failing economy with a demand that the licenses of Ghanaian-owned banks be reinstated immediately, which the party actually believes will promote local investment and create the much-needed jobs for the betterment of the Republic of Ghana. Now, it is emerging that actually at the start of this year, the leadership of the opposition political party officially sent a request to President Akufo-Addo requesting for an engagement on the economy and the closure of GN Bank. But that meeting never happened. On your screens now are excerpts of the letter that was actually sent to the president on January 22nd, and you have excerpts of that right on your screens. The first point talks about GNSL, which is the GN Savings and Loans, which was downgraded from GN Bank to GN Savings and Loans. Now, the indication is that it is a local business, and all of this is part of the letter actually, that GNSL is a local business owned by the presidential candidate of the Progressive People's Party. And by now you're aware of him. That's Dr. Papa Kwesi Indom, which the party indicates in that letter that the bank was thriving actually prior to the onset of the financial sector crisis. GN Bank, which is the predecessor actually, as I was indicating, of GNSL, invested heavily in technology to reach out to 300 locations in Ghana. So the argument here is that GN Bank is everywhere. I mean, it went across the length and breadth of this country just to ensure that there was a setup there to create more jobs, and it was present in almost every district. But the point that they're also raising in this letter is that it had all manner of infrastructure paid for with valuable shareholders' funds, including that of foreign organizations. And the bank gave good jobs to, guess what, over 6,000 men and women directly across the country. That's part of the reasoning why the Progressive People's Party wants an action and reinstatement of the licenses, part of the letter that they sent to the president. But that's not all. The second point also talks about GN Savings and Loans supporting the business aspirations of many people across the country. The vision of the bank was to be a national bank, as they are indicating now, for the ordinary person, and also a small and medium-scale enterprises. And this explains the reason, as we're seeing in the letter, that the bank invested heavily in infrastructure to be present in markets, communities, villages, and towns, and spreading across the country as well. The aim, as they are indicating, is that they wanted to support SMEs so that the Ghanaian economy can grow. But unfortunately, GN Savings and Loans as well was taken away. So what more is in the demands of the Progressive People's Party this afternoon? There's a point 3 which the party has been laying claims to. They indicate that in the light of the above, the Progressive People Party wishes to make a special appeal to you, Your Excellency. And here they're referring to President Akufo-Addo. And this letter, as we are indicating to you, was sent to the presidency on January 2022, indicating reasons why they believe they need audience with the president, indicating that the president needs to, first of all, consider a special circumstance in which GN Savings and Loans actually finds itself in, the points that were raised earlier about how they are everywhere across the country, and then also to consider the circumstances under which the licenses were revoked, then do what? Guess what? Reinstate the operating licenses of GN Savings and Loans. And the belief of the Progressive People's Party is that this will restore many jobs and the valuable assets of the company, which is rotting away, would be put to good use. So you'd have 6,000, potentially 6,000 persons return to their previous employment. We don't know the whereabouts of all of these individuals as of now, but these are excerpts of the letter that we're getting indications was sent to the presidency at the start of this very year. And we will break down the issues for you shortly. But let's wrap up with this, because the Progressive People's Party is also making another point that they're confident that when the president intervenes in these matters in the spirit of the aspirations of inclusiveness to protect the indigenous companies, then we'll begin to see the real effect on the Ghanaian economy, and many jobs will be protected. GN Savings and Loans, which is an indigenous country, will be able to expand. And this is all captured in the point 4 that's being made. But pay attention to this. The Progressive People's Party also indicated at the latter point of this paragraph that they would appreciate an opportunity at the request and convenience of the president to discuss the subject matter further with the representatives of the Progressive People's Party and then stakeholders of GN Savings and Loans. But unfortunately, the party is expressing worry that that never happened. And we'll be getting into the details for you shortly, hearing from the party itself what it thinks we can do to resuscitate the failing Ghanaian economy. But we need to bring you this. The Bank of Ghana has been speaking. It's been talking about a number of steps that they've been taking, remedial measures to avert the imminent collapse of the Ghanaian economy. The governor of the central bank, Dr. Ernest Addison, however, provided data which he argues actually points to the fact that the banking sector is now performing better. Listen.
Developments in the banking sector over the first 2 months of 2022 show continued strong asset growth. Total assets stood at 187.8 billion Ghana cedis in February 2022, representing a 23.5% annual growth, compared with 18.5% growth in the previous year. The growth in assets was on the back of increased deposits and borrowing. Total deposits recorded a year-on-year growth of 18.2% to 123 billion Ghana cedis. Borrowing also increased significantly by 78.8% to 25.5 billion Ghana cedis, relative to the contraction of 23.4% in the previous year. The rebound in credit growth continued in the first 2 months of 2022 with a 70.7% increase in new advances to 8 billion Ghana cedis, compared with a 24.6% growth in the same period last year. Trends in the financial soundness indicators remained positive, underpinned by strong solvency, liquidity, and profitability. The capital adequacy ratio of the industry was 19.6% at end February 2022, well above the current 11.5% regulatory minimum threshold. Core liquid assets to short-term liabilities was 24.2% in February 2022, compared with 26.5% in the previous year. Improvements in asset quality continued into 2022, with the non-performing loans ratio declining to 14.4% on average at the end of February 2022, compared with a ratio of 15.3% in February 2021. Banks' profitability improved over the first 2 months of 2022, with profit before tax estimated at 1.3 billion Ghana cedis compared to 1.1 billion Ghana cedis in the same period last year. Net interest income grew by 10.3% to 2.2 billion Ghana cedis, compared to 10.9% a year ago. Net fees and commissions grew by 11.8% to 486.8 million Ghana cedis, lower than the growth of 13.7% registered during the same period last year. Other income of the bank stood at 383.2 million Ghana cedis, representing a 95.5% growth, compared with a contraction of 16.5% in the same period last year.
Well, so there you have it. The Dr. Addison, who's the central bank governor, indicating in clear terms why he believes that the banking sector is now robust. But the Progressive People's Party actually thinks otherwise. But here's what we've been doing at JoyNews. First of all, getting you the cost of the sector, the cleanup, and what implications it has on the economy, and how many people actually were affected at the start of this. So take a look at this. Here's what's at stake now. We know that Ghana's banking sector cleanup cost us some 21.6 billion Ghana cedis. That's a lot of amount. Some experts argue that if we had made judicious use of this fund, at least there'll be some level of fiscal space for government to try and maneuver and then make good use of the situation in which we are in terms of the funding gap. However, that's not happening. And how many people were affected? We know that a total amount of some 4.6 million Ghanaians, or perhaps customers as we would refer to them, were affected as a result of the exercise. Investor confidence also was affected, and those who invested, a total of some 81,000 persons who had actually invested, 81,700 as you're seeing right here, were the total number of investors that were affected. And that also includes the interest of Group Indom, which the Progressive People's Party believes could have changed significantly the situation of the Ghanaian economy. But what's really the argument of the PPP? Let's find out all of that. Joining me now from the United States of America is the 2020 Vice Presidential candidate of the Progressive People's Party, Kofi Siaon, joining us now. He also understands banking, so will help us first of all to understand this. Hello, sir. Welcome to the program. So, first of all, how would you react to claims that the Progressive People's Party is simply pursuing private interests? We know that your founder, Dr. Pabakwesi, has some interest in GN savings and loans. So, are you pushing a private agenda or a national one?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. To respond directly to your question, we need to understand that entrepreneurs are assets of the Ghanaian economy, and that whether the entrepreneur is Dr. Pabakwesi Indom or Dr. Dufour or any other Ghanaian entrepreneur, what they do for the Ghanaian economy will benefit all of us. So this is not the case that we are pushing a private matter. What we are actually doing is to say that there are ways that we can bring the economy back home. And what you do is to support strategically some Ghanaian investors who will become, if you like, an inspiration to others, whose contribution will make sure that we have what we call the Ghanaianization of the Ghanaian economy, where the major sectors of the economy are not just dominated by foreigners. Of course, Ghana welcomes foreign investors in the banking sector, in the telecom sector, and in many other sectors. But where are their competitors in Ghana? So every government policy, we should know, have certain consequences. And those consequences must include the direct protection of every Ghanaian entrepreneur, including Dr. Pabakwesi Indom. So it is not a private matter, a selfish matter as far as the PPP is concerned. We are doing that to demonstrate that every Ghanaian entrepreneur matter, and government policies, however described, must ensure that Ghanaian industries, Ghanaian businessmen, and Ghanaian companies are protected. I'll give you an example.
What I'm not really clear with, and if you could just help us explain that point, is about the letter that you sent to the president. You were writing as a political party, the Progressive People's Party, talking about your concerns about the economy, and then you are roping in a private interest, something that belongs to your presidential candidate. Why do so? And could that not be the reason why you didn't get the necessary response from the presidency?
Well, it is important that part of the letter also discuss the benefit of the bank that we are asking for its license to be reinstated in terms of the jobs it created, in terms of the value that it will bring to the Ghanaian economy. If you have a major stakeholder in the banking sector being a Ghanaian, all the complaints that, for example, today the governor of the Bank of Ghana has spoken about that take away dollars from our economy will be solved and curtailed by an ownership of a Ghanaian nature in such a major sector. We also spoke about the fact that the communities in which the GM Bank had established benefited from direct small to medium scale loans that will generate activity and expand the economic activities in those areas, create the jobs that were needed by all of us, and in a way reduce our dependence on foreign or imports. So it is because GN Bank was the major, if you like, bold Ghanaian initiative. Let's take even government-owned investment in banking. You have ADB, you have NIB, and you have GCB. None of them, even with government Ministry of Finance support, had been able to do such massive investment in the Ghanaian economy like the way GM Bank did.
Well, that's arguable. That's arguable looking at the figures. You're employing somewhere 6,000 persons. We'll get into what difference it will make. First of all, address this for me. Did you get a response, a favorable response from the president on this request? And who was expected to engage the president? Was it Dr. Papakwesi Ndum asking President Akufo-Addo that he had wanted to engage him? And on what key matters? Why didn't you get the necessary response that you're looking for?
Well, we still think that the door is not shut. We know the president is a busy person. He had a tight schedule. So we believe somewhere in his calendar, our name is there waiting for, because the president has to confirm the availability before a letter is issued. So as we speak, we are yet to receive that invitation from His Excellency. We are hopeful. Looking at the current discussions on the economy, I believe the president knows that the Ghanaianization or making some strategic investment and backing Ghanaian enterprises to participate more, if you like, competitively in certain key sectors, including banking, is on the agenda of the president, is on the president's mind. Okay. He also, I believe, the president was the one that introduced what he called the Gettysburg economy. So he's fully aware of the important role local ownership of key sectors of the economy can contribute to the stability of our city and so on and so forth. Okay. So the invitation, we are hopeful it will come very soon. Now that PDRC is ended, maybe the next invitation will come to the PPP and the shareholders of Group Windom to explain the special circumstances directly to the president. He's busy. A lot of people may be talking to him. If he hears directly from us, we believe that there will be a change of course.
Is it the case that the Progressive People's Party has a solution to the economic challenges bedeviling the country? Is it that you have a proposal that you want to place before the president?
Well, I think everybody knows. The president has known. The governor speaking today, he knows what the problem is. Our diagnosis is not different. What we diagnose is simply the fact that we don't have dollars in the country. And why don't we have dollars? We don't have dollars because we rely too much on import. So even when the central bank is talking about increasing money supply by some 17%, all that happens is that the money goes wrong in the Ghanaian economy. We package it nicely and send it back to the governor and say, Mr. Governor, take your cedi and give us dollars. So the solution is that you look at what is causing us to look for dollars. And the governor said it today, is because of what happens on the income and service account, where corporate ownership or owners shape their proceeds outside. So when we sell our cocoa and get some $2 billion, these individuals who own significant portions of our economy take that dollars and send it back to their country. The governor confirmed, for example, that we have trade surplus. So why is that not reflecting in the income and service account? is because the things we export, the owners are not Ghanaian.
But you agree, these are external factors. Reinstating or reversing the license of GN Bank will not change anything, would it?
Well, it goes to the deliberate support. And I was going to give you the example of what President Joe Biden and many other countries are doing in the wake of COVID. There was deliberate, direct investment to support local industry, especially because of the same factors I've alluded to, that if your people don't own capital, if your people don't participate in the economy, what you do is that you constantly will shape the city that is going out. Now, in terms of GN Bank, what happened is just a case that monies that have been used to support our own Ghanaian contractors and entrepreneurs locally is locked up in the government coffers. Those monies must be released, and when those monies are released, it would have offset any regulatory difficulties and challenges that the bank suffered on the basis of which the license was revoked. That is why we are calling for direct executive intervention. So the president, as he's done it before, under Article 58, exercised his executive powers to even postpone the minimum capital requirement for some banks 24 months after the deadline. And some banks were actually given state support to be able to meet their liquidity support. So it is in that respect that we appeal to the president.
Right, Kofi, we need to go. Just 1 minute. I mean, the fallouts from the cabinet retreat. We understand the government is taking a number of steps to cushion the average Ghanaian. But then some experts are also suggesting that we turn to the IMF. In the estimation of the Progressive People's Party, are we there at that point where we should turn to the International Monetary Fund?
Well, as long as we are looking for the dollar that we don't have, we can't continue to let the city suffer and bleed. So if it's dollars we need, obviously we can't go borrowing from the euro market. You have expensive money on your right-hand side, and you have less concessionary money on your left-hand side, being IMF. If that's what we need as a country, we should put pride aside, and whatever Eurobond trajectory we followed, it is clear that the finance minister's option has failed. He has tried his best under the circumstances, but his best has been disastrous. He must put his work aside. If he doesn't believe in IMF, he should put the ship of state down. The president must get rid of him. You
want the finance minister fired?
Obviously, if you look at his performance, it's been disastrous. So on what basis does he continue to hold on to his office? Every indicator, and let me say this, that everything Dr. Bawumia said in 2016 was right. It's just that he's not been allowed to implement the policies that are necessary. If you keep borrowing from the euro market with high interest rate, other than the IMF one, where it's concessionary and also they can ensure accountability, what happens is higher debt, 85% of GDP.
It's just unfortunate. It's just unfortunate that I don't have all of the time. But just briefly on this, we know that what's happening around the world is that many economies are moving out of the vagaries of the COVID-19 pandemic. So what's the big deal in asking the finance minister to go when we indeed know that we're just coming out of a recession, which is due to factors that were not necessarily brought about by the mismanagement of the economy directly, at least? That's arguable, I know.
Well, first of all, it's not true that COVID caused any problem. In fact, COVID postponed the fall of the city, because it's during COVID that we had a lot of, if you like, inactivity in the import and export market. So the demand that had to be there during COVID was not there. It was postponed till now. So nobody can say that COVID contributed. How did COVID, if you like, erase or reduce our dollar supply? For which reason the demand is exceeding the dollar supply, for which reason the rate has been falling. So it is not COVID. The COVID reason they give is just a convenient way of hanging, if you like, giving somebody else the blame. Like I've diagnosed, the problem of Ghana's economy is lack of dollars, which has been shipped. COVID made that impossible for some time, and it's now that the importers are going into where they have to go. The governor was just telling you how much fertilizer we import. And let me suggest this, that the things we have in Ghana must benefit Ghanaians. So for example, if we have 30 million Ghanaians, Why should any country benefit from how Ghanaians eat rice and chicken? If we cannot provide cars and aeroplanes for Ghanaians to buy and so on, at least chicken and rice should not just give us energy to work for foreign companies. They should let us eat those things made from Ghanaians so that just eating can support the Ghanaian economy. These are the things that we need to pay attention to. And it comes from deliberate intervention and policies. For example, if Dr. Parker's syndrome is supported, there are many Ghanaians sitting in Europe, in America, with dollars sitting in their account used by the American and British banks. Now, if those people know that they'll be supported and promoted, they will bring those dollars back into the economy to benefit us and support our city. Those are the strategic interventions that we are pushing for. And it starts with supporting a massive investment like the one that GM Bank did across Ghana. I'm grateful.
Kofi Siao is the 2020 vice presidential candidate of the Progressive People's Party. There's more on the economy. Former President John Dramani Mahama has descended heavily on President Akufo-Addo's administration over what he believes is actually the failure of his administration to improve the economic conditions of citizens. He was actually speaking at a lecture a couple of hours ago.
Institutions have been politicized and have virtually become wings of the new patriotic party. Indeed, the problems of our country are legion, and the failure of this government has been spectacular on all fronts. In the coming days, I'll make a fuller statement on this state of affairs on behalf of the NDC, which remains the most viable alternative to this failed regime. I urge all our countrymen and women not to lose hope. Our constitutional democracy still has many instruments we can use to check an errant administration. And at this juncture, I wish to commend our gallant members of parliament for the good fights that they are putting up in the August House. We in the NDC can assure you that we will use all those instruments to pressure this government and hold it accountable to the people of Ghana. It is said that the darkest hour is just before the dawn. It is my firm belief that we should not despair, and Ghana will soon wake up from the nightmare that we're going through to a new dawn, where opportunities will be open to all Ghanaians and not a selected few friends and family.
Speaking at the University of Professional Studies here in Accra, experts are also putting their thoughts on the fuel prices, calling for a review of Ghana's deregulation policy to actually pave way for further government measures that will check the escalating prices of petroleum products. The policy, which was introduced in 2015, is to help reduce the cost of subsidy by the government of Ghana, as it was becoming difficult for government to pay the subsidies on time. But as the country battles economic hardship, experts are actually saying there's a need for the review of the deregulation policy, and that would be the way to go. Joining us now via Zoom is Peter Tekpe. He's a policy analyst. Thank you, sir, for your time here on The Pulse. Now, let's get your thoughts on first of all, the deregulation policy. Why is it the way to go?
Thank you very much. Yes, the deregulation policy has actually come as a result of mainly a challenge that is being faced with subsidy that government was providing, of which a lot has been in arrears, and banks that have advanced loans to these petroleum companies have all defaulted by these companies, and as a result, the bank is also having a challenge in terms of funds, availability to these companies to be able to continue operating. The working capital of these companies are also being impacted. And so most of the time you see a backlog of more than 5 years that these things have not been paid, both on FX and then on the pricing as well. So even though it came in at a time when we thought it's the best at that time, unfortunately, looking at current circumstances that is happening around the world, calls for a review of that regime.
But adopting this Keynesian approach has been questioned on a number of occasions. Many actually believe that this is a natural market cycle, that we're just in a season where the prices are escalating, and at the right time would have the markets come to the optimum level. What's your take on that? The fact that we need to be relaxed about this, watch the market repair itself.
You notice that when the prices were going up, many people were calling for a review of the taxes on the pricing structure in Ghana. And we found ourselves in a situation where those review of taxes will no more be significant to actually impact positively on the prices at the pumps. What it means is that looking at the rate at which the world market, is going, the price at the world market is increasing. If you reduce those taxes, maybe some month ago, it will be insignificant in the sense that prices have skyrocketed from the world at the world market. What it means is that if you reduce the taxes now and the price continues to increase at the world market, you are still going to be faced with high prices at the pumps. It is therefore important that we look at a regime, a system that will be an alternative to the deregulation. And so what we require to do now is to have the regulation system, the subsidy system, whereby it is not going to be recurrent, but it's going to be such a way that in times like this, government would then be able to support the pricing at the world market. For us to say that when price reach a certain threshold, government would then come in to support. We have the situation where we are benefiting from the windfall of the prices at the world market because we also export. Of course, we have the Petroleum Revenue Management Bill, which supports or tells us how the revenue should be managed. What it means is that because we are faced with this challenge, we need to have a review of that bill such that part of the windfall will be used as a subsidy to support the prices at the world market to support these prices such that we always have some stability in the system. Other than that, if you even reduce all the taxes to zero, it will get to a point where even though government will not even apply any tax on petroleum pricing, the price at the pumps will still be going up because the factors that determines the prices mainly are outside the control of government. That is why we need to run this tool system such that in times like this, we can be able to fall on the other. And so government needs to deliberately set aside part of the funds from the windfall of the export to be used to subsidize so that it will not be like the previous regime where government has to look for money somewhere else to be able to support the subsidy. This one, we have all agreed that any windfall from the petroleum exports from which we are exploring, we will be able to use it to support in times like this. And I think that this is the best way to go because prices at the world market will continue to go up. And as we continue to go up, even if government reduces taxes, we will still going to pay the higher prices.
So just give me some clarity on this. How do you intend that the government approaches this matter? Do we do that by, first of all, taking off the taxes or regulating the prices on the market? What's the best approach to this?
You don't take off the tax. The taxes remain as it is. So the taxes will still remain. But for instance, the price is currently above $100. So what we say is that, okay, when prices is above 80, anything above the 80 will be a benchmark, will be the threshold. Anything above $80, government will then subsidize from the windfall of the petroleum export. So that if we are buying from the world market at $100 per barrel, government will subsidize by $20, such that at any point in time, the price will be stable at $80. So anybody who is importing from whatever market that is higher, because government is having a benchmark at 80, a ceiling, it means that anytime price increase, we will still have a stable price at the pumps. Why? Because government is using the excess from the export to be able to support the increase above the threshold that we set for ourselves. And I think that when we are able to do this, it means that if today price goes to $150, which will impact us at the pump, government is using the windfall from that $150 against what it has budgeted for to help stabilize the prices at the pumps, so that those who import will then be getting the differential from this windfall, purposely to support the citizenry, to support and reduce the impact it has on the economy, because prices of petroleum increase affect every sphere of the economy. That is why a deliberate policy needs to be looked at to support this regard.
Well, so in terms of the actuals, are we looking at some price cap that you would profile in terms of a proposal to government to consider?
Of course, if government is making $60 million, for instance, from as a windfall, and we are importing at a certain level, government necessarily does not need to sell to all BDCs. Government does not need to sell to all BDCs, or does not need to give this support to all BDCs, because we have different, many of them, over 1,000 of them. So what do? You look at a specific one, and if you look at the amount involved, this will be happening over a period, and it's not going to be forever. So from January to date, prices at the world market, what government has budgeted for, any excess that comes in, it comes into the government coffers. At the end of the day, it belongs to government, even though we have the bill that determines how it should be managed. That's why I indicated that we need to look at a review of that bill to bring in this a clause such that it will support the Ghanaian, and it will be from a threshold. So in the act or in the review, we will say that any time prices go beyond that threshold, money will be taken from this fund to support that subsidy. And that will support. We can look at other areas where government has excess funds as well, other areas where government can make money as well, and also use it. When it happens like that, government is making money from the taxes, and then the windfall from the prices at the world market as well, because we export, will also be used to support the Ghanaian as well. And when it happens like that, everybody will appreciate that it's a win-win situation for all of us.
All right, then. I'm grateful that you've been able to join us, Peter Tekpe. But just as we wrap up on this conversation, what's really your projection? There are many who are saying we've not seen the worst of this yet. Are you also of that opinion? Peter Tekpe, if you can hear me, I'm asking whether there may be further escalations. Ghanaians are saying we've not seen the last of this yet. I mean, some experts, I should say, are saying we've not seen the last of this yet. Do you also hold that opinion?
I hold that opinion because when this year started, nobody knew that the issue of Russia-Ukraine was going to come up. It means that it is possible that other issues will also come up, which we will not have control over. That is why there should be a deliberate policy to be able to support in the long run. The reason is that we cannot control the key factors. The depreciation of the currency, we cannot control it. Prices at the world market, we can't control it. So there should be a deliberate policy in order to support this. And Russia-Ukraine war can be over, something else will come, and we'll find ourselves in the same situation again. Right. If this continues and price increase to 150, 200, Ghanaians will continue to bear the cost. That is why this policy is needed, this review is needed. We need to look at the regime again so that government will be able to have a win-win situation with the citizens and with revenue as well.
Grateful that you've been able to join us here on The Pulse. If you're also watching us at home or wherever you are in your offices, you can feel free to join the conversation. We're trying to get your thoughts on this, but wait until I tell you about this. In fact, the economic crisis is biting really hard. The country has now dropped 16 places on the World Happiness Report in 2021. The country actually placed 95 in the World Happiness ranking, but now we're placing 111 on the index, and that's compiled by a group of independent experts. The report was actually based on some life evaluations from the Gallup World Poll, with the ranking based on a number of factors. And there you have it on your screens right now, 95 out of 149 countries. That's where we were in 2021. But the situation has changed. We've dropped about some 16 points, I should say. We're now on 0.111 out of 146. That's how bad the situation is as we speak in 2022. Some are attributing the situation to the COVID situation. But tell us about how you feel right now as a Ghanaian living in this country. So there you have it, 95 out of 149, and then 111 out of 146. That's our current position in terms of the World Happiness Index. Are you happy as a Ghanaian? Share your thoughts with us as well, and let's see what you think. You can also, this time around, feel free to join us via Zoom as well. We'll open all of those platforms to you, so you can also share your thoughts with us very briefly, just as we take your thoughts on this, and then deal with some more issues that are coming up here on the Pulse. So feel free to give us a call now, 0302 116 91 or 92. You can try either of these numbers, and we will be happy to have you join us. But let's do this first of all. Gordon is giving us a call right from Dansoman here in the Greater Accra region. Gordon, what's your take on all that's been happening in the country, and how do you feel as a Ghanaian as we speak?
Obviously, we know a number of factors that are driving the current situation. We are very optimistic that things should be turning the corner brightly for as long as we put in the requisite measures, economic measures, that will take us out of this whole doldrum. Key is productivity. And then we get our tax revenue out of that productivity. I will urge and encourage the government to rigorously pursue the one district, one factory agenda. It's so crucial. It is a brilliant idea. It is a step in the right direction. However, we need more injection into that. I will keep stressing on that. Productivity. Yes, one.
Right. Gordon, so I get the point you're making there. A number of reforms you're calling for. Thanks for also joining us and stay with us here on the Pulse. You can also join us if you are watching now, looking at the index, World Happiness Index. Ghana is now placing 111 out of some 149 countries. You have that on your screens as we speak, telling you about what the recent index is telling us about how Ghanaians feel. But we want to hear that from you as well. 0302 116 91. That's the line for you to call. Let's now hear from Francis. Francis is giving us a call from Teshi here in the Greater Accra region. Francis, share your thoughts with us. Francis, if you can hear me, I'm asking about how you also feel as a Ghanaian in this time. Francis can't hear us. You can, but what we're also doing is that you can also feel free and join our connections as well, so we can get your thoughts also via Zoom. So it's not just about our phone lines. Godwin is also calling us from Ho. Godwin, what do you have to share with us? Godwin, if you can hear me, I'm asking how you feel now as a Ghanaian.
Well, I may say very terrible, not happy at all. Yeah, due to the increased prices in the fuel and commodities in the country. I think what the PPP 2020 candidate, the vice presidential candidate, said that the finance minister must resign. I think it's a good step. When you keep on trying and you don't get results, the best thing you are supposed to do is to just step down so that somebody else will come. I think that is it. So that's what I have to say.
Right. Godwin, thanks for joining us. Kojo is also joining us from Bogoso. Kojo, what do you have to share with us?
Hello.
Yes, Kojo, go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Kojo. Let's hear from you. So unfortunately there, we've lost Kojo here on the Pulse, but don't forget as well that you have we have a few more minutes for you, so you can also join us and share your thoughts with us and also tell us how you actually feel. Don't forget, it's 0302 211 691. Daniel is joining us on Zoom. Daniel, if you can hear me, please unmute and then make your points now, Daniel.
I think it's obvious that the economic managers have not done much to leverage the suffering of the good people of Ghana. And it's obviously, the case that people and the global economic monitors have descended heavily on government, and whether or not this government is doing well enough to leverage the suffering of the good people of Ghana. But for me, my pocket definitely determines whether I'm happy or not. I'm so seated here right now. I'm not sure I'm a good person, and obviously not happy with how the things are being managed.
What's wrong with your pockets?
I mean, you all know, if yesterday I went to buy fuel, it was 8.2. The next day I went and it was 9.3. Obviously, it's going to affect my pocket. It's something I've not budgeted for. And so if I have budgeted some money to be used for other things, it means that I'm going to deprive those critical areas of my life into buying fuel because of the high cost of fuel being experienced at the pump.
Okay then. Thanks, Daniel. Benjamin is here. Benjamin from Dodoa. Benjamin, hi there.
Hello. Good afternoon.
How are you feeling now, Benjamin?
Hello.
Yes, Benjamin, go ahead. I can hear you.
My name is Frank.
Okay, so this is actually Frank from the Volta region. So, Frank, you can also make your point and then we'll take that off Benjamin.
Yeah, I think the generation of the problem, the whole problem is fuel. If the government can immediately put resource on top to let us refine the oil in this nation and sell to the Ghanaians at the cheaper price, the problem will be solved immediately. So the government must give us hope that within 1 month, we can put pressure on top to refine the crude oil and sell to us at a cheaper price. Then we all get relief. That is my immediate idea I have. If the government can put that into practice.
You want Tor to do something about the petroleum prices by refining more. We'll see about that. Thank you for joining us, Frank. Let's go on to Zoom now. Jonathan is also joining us right on that platform. Jonathan, tell us about this. Here we are, 111 on the World Happiness Index. But unmute and tell me how you feel now as a Ghanaian.
Actually, it's a disturbing news for we the Ghanaians. From the place of 16 to, 111 is very bad. But I think that Agenda 111, this one of the Agenda 111 too. We can also see something like that for the funny aspect of it. But I think the government must do something about it and work harder, especially the economic team.
Is that to suggest that you're not happy as a Ghanaian?
No. I'm not.
Well, Jonathan, it appears that you're also monitoring us on television, but when you call us, when you join via the Zoom platform, you need to make sure that you turn down the volume on your radio, your TV set, I should say. Amidu is also joining us now from Obuase. Amidu, share your thoughts with us.
Good afternoon.
Yes, go ahead then.
Actually, we are not happy because looking at how the economics, if you're renting and then every food, there's no food, money to buy food, everything is hard. Transport is going up. You can't do anything at all other than sit down and complain. So we dropping out to 111. It's not good. But I'm only happy that the government has set up some policies to mitigate the situation for us. That's the only happy thing I can hear from that. Thank you.
Interesting. Amidu, we're grateful that you've been able to join us all the way from the Ashanti region. Let's now hear from Kojo. Kojo is also joining this conversation now, joining us from the Western region, Bogoso. Kojo, tell us about how you feel now as a Ghanaian. Are you happy?
Definitely not, my brother. I think you don't need a soothsayer to tell you that Ghanaians are actually not happy. You can see the indicators. There was a report from an angle the other day that the increase in the road accidents on our road, one of them was because of the pressure from the economy. Once there is a pressure in the economy, money is blood and it runs things in the economy. So once there is a pressure on the economy, definitely there will be pressure on every individual. So you can see husband, wife fighting, and you see little things, people butchered their colleagues here and there. These are indicators that happiness is no more in the system. So I am not surprised that we have dropped to 111. So if we may see this as a joke, but it has its implications. Like I said, it results to murder, killing with little things. You see somebody butchering his neighbor, or killing him.
Right.
So these are indicators. So I think the managers of the economy should wake up. They are sleeping for very too long. There is a need to wake up to fix the economy. Thank you.
Well, Kojo, thank you for joining us. Let's now head on to Zoom. Bismarck is joining us as well. Bismarck, share your experiences with us as well.
Let's now.
Bright is also, yes. Bismarck, Bismarck, are you with us?
Your viewers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I share with the sentiment of what my brothers are saying. But yes.
Okay, we're having challenges with Bismarck. So let's see if Bright is on. Bright or foreign?
Other brothers are saying. But I believe in the president. As he has been saying always.
Bismarck, we seem to be having a challenge with your line. So let's do Bright and then we'll come back to you. So Bright or foreign, let's hear your point on this as well. Bright, kindly unmute for us so we can hear you. Well, I'm grateful that you've all been able to join us at this point. Obviously, we'll just make up for one more call and then we'll continue here on the polls. 0302-221-1691 is the number for you to call us on, share your thoughts with us, and then we can, of course, get to know how you're feeling now as a Ghanaian. So the numbers to call 0302-221-1691. That's the number on which you can call us. It's right on your screens now for you to join us and also to share your thoughts with us. Let's see if we have, James. It's actually Jamal. Jamal is actually joining us now. Jamal, you are right here somewhere around Labadi, so share your experiences with us. Jamal, if you can hear me.
Yeah, good afternoon to all of you. Hello.
Yes, Jamal, just make your point briefly for me.
Hear you. Good afternoon to all of you.
Yes, good afternoon, Jamal.
I want to make a point here on the fuel prices.
Okay, it appears that we have a challenge with Jamal. So thank you all for joining us. But let me wrap up with Boateng joining us from Winneba. Boateng?
Yes, sir.
Yes, your points.
Yes, you can, my brother, you can see from all indications that we are suffering from this economic hardships and difficulties. It has not been easy. That has not been easy, and we can never be happy. If your parents, you're paying fees, now can you imagine fees at the basic level, at this private school? Huge sums of money, feeding, plus your cars, you have to fuel your car to work and those things, family pressure and others. So Ghanaians, we are not happy. We can never be happy, especially we, the youth, a lot of responsibilities to take care of. So we are pleading with the government to do something about it. It is not good. The general outlook of things is not the best. So the government must sit up and listen to us, because we can't continue like this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Boateng, for joining us. Israel will wrap up for us. Israel is on Zoom. Israel, your point today.
All right, good afternoon to all of you viewers. My point is that this, like one of a friend has just said that.
Okay, so we've lost Israel there, but thank you all for joining us here on the polls. When we return from this break, we have quite a lot coming your way. Stay with us here on the JoyNews channel. And you're welcome back to the polls. Now, the high cost of fertilizer and other farm inputs is likely to lead to a food shortage and hunger in the country. This is according to some peasant farmers in the northern region who are calling for immediate intervention of the government. The increments have been blamed on supply chain disruptions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and the crisis in Ukraine. According to the farmers, the situation is taking a biting toll on crop production, as some farmers have been compelled to scale back production while others are quitting farming altogether to become input dealers. Correspondent Elias Sotanko spoke to a peasant farm leader in the northeast region, one of the country's food baskets.
Alhaji Karim Mahmoud is a well-known and experienced farmer based in the capital town of the northeast region. He is the chief executive officer of Who is Free Farms and has actively been farming all varieties of food crops, including cereal and vegetables, for over 40 years now. But due to the recent sharp increases in the prices of input and the general high operational cost, Alhaji Karim has gradually switched into a full-time agrochemical dealer. He says several farmers in the region are ready to call it quits if there's no help from the state agencies to reduce the prices of farm input, especially fertilizer.
Everything has increased. Last year, for instance, by this time, we were getting fertilizer around 80 cedi, 85 cedi. But this year, currently, fertilizer, MPK, if you don't have 500 Ghana cedis in your hand, you will not get fertilizer. Even some of the fertilizers, you can't even get. The Yara fertilizer, you will not get it. And then the chemical too. Last year like this, the distant glyphosate, 19 cedis, 20 cedis, but as at now, 1 liter is 50 cedis, 45 cedis for 1 liter. Which means that it has increased double. For this case, how can we able to farm?
He also said the hikes in the price of fuel as well as tractor services has affected agricultural production costs. According to him, the situation was forcing some farmers to scale back production, with others looking at the prospect of quitting production altogether.
This year, how much is 1 liter now? Some are saying 11 cedis for a liter. Some are saying 10 cedis for a liter. And if you don't prepare your land, you don't go to farm. And you can't use your hand to prepare the land unless you get a tractor to go to the farm, and there's no fuel. There's increment about the fuel. Last year, they were doing 1 acre 70 cedi, but this year it's going to be 100 plus. 1.5 per acre. It has increased double. As at now, what are we going to do? Where are we going?
Alhaji Karim appealed to the government to intervene by any means necessary to prevent the country from plunging into an imminent food crisis this year.
If they didn't come out to look about those things, it will be difficult for the farmers this year to be able to go to farm. If the farmer didn't go to farm, you, the officer, minister, MP, president, where can you get food to enjoy? So there will be much hunger in Ghana here next year if they didn't do something about that. So we are appealing, just wake up and work hard to solve this problem in the name of Allah.
Reporting for Joy News, Ilyasu Tanko Naliru.
And back here in the Greater Accra region, it's time for our Drive Safe campaign. Don't forget that the president recently raised concerns and charged the Ghana Police Service to enforce discipline on our roads. His directive was targeted at ensuring that the carnages on our roads is reduced. There's a group calling itself the Accident Victims Support Foundation, which is scaling up education and ensuring that they engage driver unions on ensuring that they maintain discipline on our roads. Fortunately, they are holding a summit just in the next 24 hours, so there's a need for us to talk about that. Reverend Benedict Crabb is joining us now on the JoyNews channel. Reverend, it's a good time to see you. What's interesting about the summit, first of all, is that you're saying it's a national all-driver and prayer round safety summit.
Yes.
What's unique about this? Is it the case that you're now coming to pray against the accidents that we witnessed?
No, not at all, not at all. And thank you for having me here today. And this is my first time of meeting you. A quick good evening to all your viewers at this very moment, and also a quick condolences to those who last week we have several crashes.
On our
quick
roads.
Condolences to all those that were involved, and those that today are receiving treatment at the various hospitals. We wish them speedy recovery, and we pray that those who are supposed to help them will go to their aid, because serious injuries would definitely result into one becoming a hawker, one becoming a school dropout, one becoming an orphan, and all that. We don't want to see that there. So I'll plead with people that every accident victim that you are closer with, you would as well extend a helping hand to that person. This is the National All Drivers Prayer and Road Safety Summit, and it is the 10th anniversary or the 10th edition.
Okay, so this is not the first time.
It's not the first time. It's not the first time. Unfortunately, rather, we have not really geared attention towards it. But I have never relent or given up on it, because I know that devoid of prayer, education will be an entertainment. It is said that every education which is not supported with enforcement, it becomes an entertainment. And I am very, very glad that I've heard the president, adding his voice to it, to make it so huge. Just last
And he describes this as indiscipline on our roads.
Yes, actually.
Is that what we are really experiencing?
Of course. Actually, the National Road Safety Authority came out with a survey, and at the end of the survey, the statistics that they analyzed said that 92% of the crashes on our road is as a result of human behavior or bad attitudes that we see on the road.
So this is driven by data?
It is driven by data. It's driven by data. And you can clearly tell, because the accidents that happened last week and last 2 weeks, you realize that, one, they were fatigued, and they know very well that they were fatigued. They were over speeding, and then we also saw adherence to the rules and regulations and some of the signages traffic regulations and the signages on our road. We totally turn deaf ears and blind eyes to these things, and that results into it. We know very well that our roads are very much in a deplorable state, but if you are very much aware of a state of a thing, you know how to handle it. Hence, most road safety advocates have said that there is something they call COAT, CAOT, COT, which the C is for concentration, that drivers need to wear, like we are wearing our coat.
So an
C,
acronym. C.
Yeah, acronym. That the C stands for concentration, the A stands for attention or anticipation, whereas the O is for observation. And I love the T, that is tolerance. And we want to at least address drivers. As I sit here right now, my heart is very heavy. Today, I was sent a picture, a video. I saw a driver who went naked at a studio like this because he looked at the pressure as a result of the fuel which has come upon drivers. I understand the plight of the drivers, just as the plight of accident victims. But in the face,
you feel that may also, I mean, some would say that's far-fetched. But do you feel that the increment in the fuel prices could also be causing
it is a factor.
Psychological effect
yes,
on our
of course. It's a factor. It's a component of the causes of the road accident. I understand that. But we cannot also say that because of that we'll continue to kill people. The National Road Safety Authority is doing its best to campaign as the Stay Alive campaign, which says that we should stop the work of Satan, Jaibru Samunyuma, you understand? And we think that deliberately drivers are contributing to the carnages on our road. This prayer has come to not only help, but it is the platform that we are using to gather drivers and then address the concerns of drivers. Whereas we also let them know that we think about them, we care about them, but they should also care about us in return.
So give us a picture of what's happening. You're engaging driver unions, right? What's your expectation from this engagement that you're going to have?
At the end of the day, we want the drivers to know that, the moment prayer is said, God, the God factor.
Okay, so you're praying first of all and then engaging them? Or
no, it's a platform. Okay. It's the National All Drivers Prayer and Road Safety Campaign. It's the platform. Now, the platform, the concept is like that we bring all of the drivers together because the road carnages is concerns of all, but they are the forefront. And so we are bringing them together. Those who don't know, who have not learned, there are education about insurance that they don't know, education about licensing that they don't know, education about recklessness and discipline that they don't know. Even if they know, they tend to be ignorant of it or turn a blind eye at it. So let's come together. Let's educate ourselves. At the end of the day, we also believe that there is an iota of spirituality, against that. And so we, the pastors, that are supposed to do this. In the book of James chapter 2, it says that if we sit and then we say that we are going to follow God alone, we are not doing right. So we need to be educated. At the same time, we need to pray.
So prayer going hand in hand.
Going hand in hand. But most importantly, we want to give drivers education and at best advocate and also make it plain that the road carnages is becoming unbecoming. One death is one too many.
Yeah.
A life lost is one too many.
I totally agree with you on that. That's why we're running the Drive Safe campaign here on the JoyNews channel. But it appears that we're always fixated on the drivers. How about the pedestrians as well?
Three things contribute to road accident. The driver is paramount, as well as the roads, and then the enforcement agencies. Without them enforcing the laws to bring some kind of sanity on our roads, we are going to continue to see the increasing rate of the crashes. Whereas we also want the drivers to know you can never drive with an empty head. You should know what you're about. I always say that driving is next to MD, driving is next to the presidency, driving is next to any other higher ranking position in the country or any corporate institution. That is why I was so happy when I heard that the president, he himself, because he himself is vulnerable. He himself is vulnerable. Today, if he's not in the seat and he's driving just as any other statesman, he can be involved in an accident. So the better he add his voice to it now.
That's why you're lauding him for what he said.
I have to. He is my president. And I also sit here to tell him that it shouldn't be a 9-day wonder. It should be a thing. He should be an ambassador to continue. Because, at the Kofi Annan Road Safety Awards night, he was given some kind of honor for what Ghana is doing, as well as Kweku Ofori, Honorable Kweku Ofori Esiama, who received the award on behalf of Ghana because the world think that Ghana is doing it best. Because if we have 1.3 million people dying across the world and over 50 million people also being crashed. Look, when you go to the hospitals today, road crashes is the first cause of death in our hospitals.
That's shocking.
Very shocking. And in the world is the third cause of death. And so it's being treated as a health, issue. And for us in Ghana, it is a national worry where we all have to, put our hands on deck and pull out strings from wherever. Because as you're sitting here, just as handsome as you are, I don't know if you have been involved in an accident before. God forbid.
I pray against it, actually.
God forbid, but you should have at least an experience. Come to near accident, you will appreciate, these things that we are talking about. And so the country must appreciate the fact that we need to bring these road carnages, which is possible, which we can work on it to reduce it at least 50%. We should work it, and that's why this prayer and road safety summit is coming up. And I want to urge everybody who is seated out there, we need their support. 0246869214. They should call us so that anybody who wants to support any accident victims, not only prayer, but also with some cash, some finances, they can call me and then we will go and help. But for the prayer tomorrow, it is coming on. And 22nd was 3 years ago. 22nd was the day that we lost over 100 people. 100 people on our roads. And so tomorrow, 22nd, let's come together and let's at least pray and believe that it will come down.
Reverend Cyril Crabb giving us just a little bit of information of what to expect tomorrow when you join them. But I'm grateful that you've been able to share some time with us. We need to talk about this. The convener of the Fix the Country movement, Oliver Barker-Vormawor, has described as inhumane the practice in which the police actually keep people in cells without food for days. He was speaking at the Ashaman police station after the police rejected a donation of food and other items from the Fix the Country movement leader. He was actually making some donations over the weekend. Samuel Kojo Brace has the rest of the story.
It was a normal Sunday afternoon at the Ashaman police station. But after an hour, the members of the Fix the Country movement started massing up at the station. Soon, some cars came in and started offloading some food items, toiletries and other stuff meant to be a donation from the embattled convener of the pressure group, Oliver Barker-Vormawor, who until last Thursday was in custody at the Ashaman police cells. The police, sensing that it might not be possible for the items to be received, warned the group members that the items cannot be unpacked to the police premises. The district police commander therefore asked them to get the items off the station. He said they have taken this decision because the group did not follow the laid-down procedures in donating to the police station. Oliver Barker-Vormawor arrived soon after. His presence drew more people to the venue. After being briefed on what the police had decided to do, he expressed shock at the development.
So then we go home. We have already started soliciting different charities or orphanages that people online think is the best place to send the things. We'll send them there to feed people who are hungry. And if the nature of politics in this country is that even hungry people have to be denied food to make a statement, that's the reality of the country we are living. We can change it, we can do anything. For all my 35 days in there, not once did the police come and offer me food. That this is the food that the state has provided them to give to inmates. I had to wait on family and friends who would come and give me food. So that's the experience of a lot of people who are there. There are some who have gone a year, 2 years, and have never received any family coming to see them. In fact, a lot of them, their family don't know they are in there because the police often deny them the right to call anybody to inform them that they are there. So that's the experience I went through. And I know that there are people in there who are starving. When I was arrested and I was thrown in there, I met people who for 5 days had not eaten. And when I talked about it and complained about it, I was told by the police that the people in there are used to it. So it's inhumane as far as I'm concerned for people to go this number of days without food.
The police, as at the time we were leaving the premises, were yet to officially release a statement on the development. For JoyNews, Samuel Kojo Brace, Ashaiman.
Education Minister Dr. Yao Osei-Duchum is tasking the new Governing Council of the Chartered Institute of Taxation, Ghana, to demystify taxation and also find ways to educate the public on the enormous benefits of taxes. At an inauguration of the new council, he expressed worry about how some institutions are unaware of government tax incentives and how to take advantage of them.
We want this council to come up with short-term and long-term strategies that will help us enhance taxation in this country. So you have work to do. This institute have to demystify taxation in such a way that people will look at the benefit and not just the fact that we're taking money from them. Your profession also demands that you create a pipeline of future tax experts, and that is within your remit, and that's something that we expect to see more of. Genuinely, some people don't know how even to go about it. And the tax incentive that is out there, companies may be complaining. And most of the time I ask you, who is your tax expert? And they don't have any. So they are not able to take advantages of even tax opportunities and incentives the government has created for them. If it's private schools, your opportunity is the fact that you can be the professionals that they take on as consultants. Various associations that will come to me and say, why is the government doing this? And in my own small way, I'll do my research and it will come to light that the government has even created opportunity for some tax incentives and they don't know.
And now speaking to JoyNews on the sidelines of the inauguration, chairperson of the Governing Council of the Chartered Institute of Taxation, Emmanuel Obeng Asiedu, said the electronic transactions levy is good, but has its own issues. He says it's about ironing out the issues to get a level playing field.
It depends on where you stand, right? It's good one way. It has also its own issues. So it's a question of ironing it out to get to a level playing field.
Well, if you talk about issues, what issues are you talking about? And you are a tax expert, so what issues are you talking about, and what needs to be ironed out?
The main issues are not really tax issues. They are more of fiscal issues. Okay. Right. Fiscal issues. That's how I'll put it. And fiscal issues are different from what we talk about over here.
So how would you break down to a layperson, if you talk about fiscal issues, to a layperson, what exactly?
Oh, fiscal issues, they are in a way related to how you use your money, okay, or how you generate your money, and how the taxes are paid, etc. Those are the things that I'll talk about when it comes to that.
Okay. So are you suggesting that government needs to focus on the fiscal aspect and not the taxation aspect?
I am not a policymaker, so I cannot make any comments about that.
Oh, no, I just want clarification on what you said.
No, I am not a policymaker, so I would not like to make any comments about that.
And now, producers of Santex hygiene products, Europrimer Industries has supported the Greater Accra Regional Hospital to maintain high sanitation standards as the hospital deals with a myriad of infections, including the COVID-19 pandemic. The items range from the Santex medicated soap, which is the So Clean. We have washing powder and also hand sanitizers and hand washing powders, amongst others. Mausi Numo has more in the following report.
As part of Europrimer Industries Limited's corporate social responsibility, the company donated over 3,000 cartons of assorted products worth 400,000 Ghana cedis from its product line to the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. Head of Administration and Finance for the company, Frank Pepra, said the donation is aimed at boosting healthcare delivery by providing protection against diseases.
This is part of our 2022 corporate social responsibility. Over the past few years, we've done a number of donations, all within this vicinity, with the sole purpose of boosting the first line of defense when it comes to
citizens of this country.
He further cautioned the general public of fake products on the market.
In one or two instances, we've had some issues of fake products also come up. But what we will tell the market is to always look out for the branded, well-branded Santex that you have on the market, the red and then the green and then the white boxes. Also, we also encourage them to actually visit our accredited distributors all around the country to get the original products.
Meanwhile, the medical director of the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, Dr. Emmanuel Sromenyo, is calling on corporate organizations to emulate Europrima and assist the facility with logistical support. According to him, the facility is still struggling to deliver services to patients as COVID-19 impacted the hospital greatly.
Because of the various protocols, one of the areas which has impacted much significantly on the hospital's resources is the area of logistics in form of examination gloves and sterile gloves and many other of these items that we use for day-to-day service delivery. We are still open. If there is any other company that want to visit us and support the hospital in service delivery.
Europrima Industries Limited is manufacturer of Santex antiseptic soap, Soclean, Boom washing powder, Supreme instant noodles, and Top Cafe, amongst others. Miles Numon's report for JoyNews.
And coming up, we continue our Ghana Month series of stories. This week, Ghanaian Indigenous Games. We are telling you about the Antuachiri. To play this game, actually, one must maintain all rounds of alertiveness and also else you would have to pay the price by actually taking a hit at the back. Antuachiri is a communal game usually played by young people to while away time for our Ghana Month series focusing on indigenous Ghanaian games. My colleague Justice Bedu went to the Kwabenya MA5 school here in Accra to find out children who still play Antuachiri.
Pupils of the Kwabenya Atomic MA5 school playing the game of Antuachiri. They form a circle and one of them hovers behind them with a stone in hand. The rest in a circle, all of them down on their knees, clapping.
The players must be 8 or more, from ages 5 and above. A cloth is needed for the game. The children are made to sit in a circular fashion, and one of them goes around the circle singing Antuachiri, Antuachiri. They all respond, yeah, yeah, yeah. Antuachiri, Antuachiri, yeah, yeah, yeah. Obi babewo, yeah, yeah, yeah. The song is repeated as many times as one goes around the circle.
Antuachiri is an Akan folklore game. The game's name, Yamfa Antuachi, literally means it has not been put behind you.
The rule of the game is that for those seated, nobody should look back. The moderator then goes behind one person and puts a cloth behind them. The first person should have a way of knowing when the cloth is put behind him or her so that he can be the new moderator. If the person is that absent-minded, the moderator then lightly hits the back and they all laugh. The game continues until they decide to stop.
My name is Joyce Quay.
Joyce Quay, the head teacher here, is one of the people trying to keep children here focused on Ghanaian games.
With the onset of technology, a lot of our children have lost track of our traditional games like Ampe, Owari, Ludu, Antuachiri, and the rest. But once in a while, we organize such things so that our children here would not lose our culture entirely. So today, for instance, we did Ampe, Antuachiri, drafts, and Owari.
Like many other games indigenous to Ghana, Antuwechiri is almost lost. And if nothing happens soon, it would only be a matter of time that no one would hear or know about this game again. Justice Baidu, JoyNews, Accra.
And thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. When we return, there's more coming your way, including sports.
In the Nigerian Premier League, and then he went over to Gil Vicente on loan, played for Maccabi Haifa and played for Hapoel Saba, went to Portsmouth on 2 legs, played for Middlesbrough, for Everton, for Leicester City, Blackburn Rovers, and then went all the way to Asia to play for Guangzhou RF. He also played for Al Rayyan in the Gulf, and then came back to play for Reading, and then went to Turkey to play for Kayserispor, and also played for Coventry City. In total, he's made some impressive 428 appearances across board in all of these, these leagues. Now, he emerges from Benin City in Nigeria, and he has recorded a very good 57 caps for the national team, the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Currently, he's based in the UK, where he's living with his family. He has encountered quite a number of Ghana versus Nigeria, events. Now, striker Yakubu Aigbeni will be our guest, who will be joining us virtually soon from his base in London. You do remember him in recent history from that game that was played in Ghana during the 2008 Africa Cup of Nations. He scored the first goal and it sent shivers down the spines of the home fans. One other man who was on the other side of the pitch wearing a white jersey with the number 4, sign at the back was John Paintsel. Now, John Paintsel has also had a very interesting career, which started here from Ghana on a very modest note from Brekum Arsenal. He also played for Liberty Professionals, which is famed for producing a big generation of big-name footballers. He's also had his fair share in Israel, where he played for Maccabi Tel Aviv and Hapoel Tel Aviv. He's played for West Ham United, also featured for Fulham and Leicester City. He's played for Hapoel Tel Aviv on another leg as well, and then he played in Santos and then Maritzburg United in South Africa. After that, he's taken a new endeavor in coaching, and he found himself coaching in South Africa in the South African Premier League as an assistant coach of the gallant Kaizer Chiefs Football Club. Currently, he's running the John Paintsel Academy. Between the two gentlemen, they have met in a minimum of 2 Jollof encounters, and we are going to be reliving those moments and looking at the current situation and how we should go with it. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Very shortly, Yakubu Aigbeni will be joining us. But JP, thank you so much for your time. It's good to have you here.
Yeah, it's good to see you. You're looking good.
Yeah. And Empower. Well, I don't want to go into trying to explain that tree adage or that accolade. We'll talk about that after the show. But it's good to have you here. Very shortly, Yakubu will be joining us. So he's dropping his daughter off at a practice to play sport. Family duties. A family man. We're all family men. It's good to make time for family, isn't it? Right. Sure. Right. Ghana versus Nigeria.
That's dog eat dog. Dog eat dog, yeah.
Sure, I see.
Yeah.
Now, it's even difficult to start because there's so many things to focus on. But let's go back a bit into the history, recent history at that. I do remember that crucial game where Ghana won against Nigeria, and I'm going to be asking Yakubu about it, about scoring, against the partisan crowd, and getting everybody silent, scoring that penalty against goalkeeper Richard Kingston. You were on the other side of the pitch. Tell me what it is that goes through your minds when you have to play a game with such tension.
When it comes to Nigeria and Ghana, it's a game of let's say mouth watering, that everybody looking forward to see the outcome of the game, and it always tend to be a heat game. And, you know, playing against Nigeria, there's no formula. You don't see coaches' tactics, you don't see players' skills and all, but it's all about giving all your life, looking like, we will say it like do and die affair, because we need to hold the flag of Ghana high, play for the pride of our nation, and same as the Nigerian players also feel the same heat. So it's like I said, dog eat dog, two dogs stand and then they will wait for who to go first and all. So when it comes to Nigeria and Ghana, it's like that. I mean, you won't see any formula, but it's hit and then take, hit and take, hit and take, which we are going to see it very soon.
And so, a good time to bring in Yakubu Aigbeni, who's reaching us from the UK where he's based. Yakubu, good to see you. You look good, bros. You look good.
It's God. We thank God, and we're great. You know, everything you have to give God the glory.
Great stuff there. And I see you're competing with me for the bald, but okay, yours is smoother than mine, eh?
You know. When we're young, we like those punk style, you know.
Yeah.
But now we're different now, so we'll have to go low.
Very well. Bro, you know, tell me about 2008. We're starting the conversation from 2008. Between you and Pencil, I mean, there are quite a number of Ghana versus Nigeria encounters. But, you know, many of the football fans never forgave you for that penalty you very expertly converted against goalkeeper Richard Kingston. And considering that you were scoring in an atmosphere where there was a partisan crowd, 80% of the fans were Ghanaian fans. Tell me about it. Tell me about that moment when you placed the ball on the spot and you were about to strike it. What was going through your mind?
It was a big pressure, you know, playing against Ghana, and then the stadium, I think it was what's it called, quarterfinal?
Yeah, the quarterfinal.
You know, quarterfinal. So as soon as we got the penalties, for sure I know I'm going to score, you know, so.
Okay.
And the good thing, I was happy about it because I make the Ghanaian fans quiet. The whole stadium go quiet. And we try to mock my friend, you know, that's how we do their celebration.
Yeah. The celebration, I remember very well. Yeah.
We try to do that. So just to mock them a little bit, at the end we lost. I think we fight, we give everything, you know, but lucky enough, and Ghana they won, so you know it's good for them. But at the end, we went back home and sad. We don't like to lose against Ghana.
Now we've been talking about what goes through the minds of you, the players, who are at the center of all of the action when big games like these are coming up. And this rivalry started years ago. I mean, dating back to the football rivalry dates back to the 50s, the 1950s. Now, tell me about the kind of pep talk that you normally get, especially when you're going into games against Ghana. You've played in quite a number of them.
Everyone, I think we're all professional players. We know what to do when you be in that situation to play. It's a big pressure, don't get me wrong. And we want to play well for ourselves. We want to play well for our family, and we want to play well for the country. For we to go into that big games, you have to motivate yourself. And we, the players, they know already. And, you know, when we sit together in the dressing room, we say, guys, listen, it's a big game. We want to play against Ghana. They're like, we're brothers, but when it comes to football, we want to show them we are the best. We want to show them we're better than them, you know. We want to win. After the game, we always celebrate each other, you know. We hug each other. We enjoy together. But when it comes to that pitch, we want to win. Playing against Ghana is always going to be big rival, you know, I'm telling you, because we think we're the best. Like I said to my friend John, I told him already we are the best. You understand? I know he's not happy with me whenever I say that.
Yeah.
And I predict already we're gonna win 2-0 already. I told him already.
Yeah, I saw that screenshot of John on Instagram. You know, he plays a screenshot of a brief chat between the two of you. You predicted 2-0 for Nigeria, and he's predicting 4-0 for Ghana.
We have maybe 9 strikers. Ghana don't have strikers.
Okay.
So we can even lend Ghana some strikers if they want. So I'm just confident. I think the boys we got now in the national team, they can it's not going to be easy, but I know it's going to be a tough game, you know, to qualify for the World Cup. But I believe the Nigeria team, they're more now to get the job done.
Well, and that's all we have for you in this package of the Pulse here on the JoyNews channel. Don't forget to log on to myjoyonline.com for more updates on all of our running stories. I'm Blessed Suga. Until then, we'll see you again next time. Next is Let's Talk Showbiz.